Hi, Alex Keenan here with Stage Light Communications. And I want to talk today about that new beginnings energy, the new year, new possibilities kind of thing. For you, that might mean that you are looking to build your career, you're looking to get more attention for your ideas. You want to show up in the world with more confidence, feel better in your own skin. You want to just be who you are and let people see that. Or maybe you run a business and you want that for your team. And that's a great goal because it just spreads to every part of your life. But what's challenging about this new possibilities energy is that it tends to wear off pretty quickly when the rubber hits the road and when things get hard. The average person gives up on their New Year's resolution on January 12th. That's less than 2 weeks in. And I've been having a lot of conversations with people lately about how to change habits and how to find the motivation to keep going towards a goal when things get tough. And what we often get wrong is that people try to do this just by force of will. I'm just going to buckle down and I'm going to do it. And that almost never works. Maybe some people can make it work. Most of us can't because that's not how our brains work. And what happens when you fail, when things get tough and you give up or you slow down, is you start to feel a lot of guilt and shame over, I wasn't able to do it, I'm not strong enough. And then that guilt and that shame becomes this downward spiral where it makes it even harder to move forward because all of a sudden you're focused on your failures. And when you focus on your failures, you create more failure. If you're focused on your success and possibility, then you can create that possibility. So if we try to do this, just I'm going to buckle down, force of will, brute strength, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you want to succeed, then it's not just brute strength. You need a system. You need a strategy. And I always tell my clients, the path that's going to work for you is the one you'll actually follow. So the first thing you need to do if you're deciding that you want to make a change is know yourself. Look at the facts, and that will form the basis for your strategy. Let's talk about high school science class. Do you remember talking about inertia and momentum? Newton's laws of motion. So the first law of motion says that an object that is standing still will stay standing still, or if it's moving, it will keep moving at a constant speed unless it's acted on by an opposing force. You throw a ball, it will slow down and eventually fall to the ground. This is gravity and the friction from the air slowing down that ball. If you think about this in terms of your own behavior, we operate the same way. And the forces that really block us are, our habit and the pressures that are being placed on us. And so you need to overcome, if you're trying to make a change, you need to overcome that initial inertia. You need to use some kind of force to get yourself going. And once you're going, you can keep going as long as you can minimize the things that are going to get in your way, the habits that will block you from making that change, the pressures in your life that are going to get in the way and make you give up on that goal. So this is what I work on with a lot of people. How do you make those habit changes and those lifestyle changes so that your public speaking and communications goals are actually going to get to your endpoint and not just slow down and peter off and fall to the ground? First thing you need to do is get started. Second thing you need to do is figure out how to keep going when things get tough. Now, for getting started, the first thing that you need to do is to make that commitment and to actually take action towards it. And a lot of people get stuck here because, we feel like we need to optimize what we're doing. We need to make the right choice. We need to do this the right way. And taking the time to do something right is absolutely worthwhile. But don't let it stop you from getting started. You see this with investing. You see it with eating right. It's not so much about finding the perfect way to do things as to just finding a way to get started. And once you're started, you can make progress, you can tweak your approach as long as you are actually moving. You also need to think about what's the knowledge gap? What do I need to learn? Or what information do I need to have access to in order to actually make this work? And sometimes it seems overwhelming because you look at this big goal that has lots and lots of steps, and you don't necessarily know what all those steps are or how to do it. But if you can break it down into smaller bits, that are more manageable. Then it becomes less intimidating and easier to accomplish. And sometimes this means getting help from someone who actually knows what the steps are and how to get over those obstacles. So let's talk about what you can do right now to overcome that initial inertia, the thing that's stopping you from getting started in the first place. You're actually already doing it. By watching this video, you are in that headspace of, I'm going to make changes in my presentation skills, my confidence, the way I show up in the world. And so let's use this momentum that we've created and keep going. So here are the 2 steps I want you to take right now. First of all, announce your intention. Make sure that other people know what you're doing so that you have some kind of external accountability. So you can go on social media and post, okay, I'm going to work on my public speaking skills. I'm going to present at this event, or I'm going to make sure that I get on stage at one point, or I'm going to do an amazing presentation at work. Whatever it is that you dream of doing, commit to that. Okay? Commit to that step. I'm going to do this year. Put it out there. So it can be on social media. You can text a friend, whatever you need to do to make sure someone knows and they know that you want them to hold you accountable. Second thing you're going to do, ask for help. So you might take a class. You might join a group in your community that will help you work on these skills. You might work with a coach, whether it's me or someone else that you think would be a good fit. Again, don't agonize over this choice. The goal is to just do something. Get started. And that person who helps you will be someone who has been through the process before, knows how to break this down into manageable chunks, can look at what is holding you back and help you get over those hurdles. I'll put my links down in the video description if you'd like to check out my programs, but the main thing is find someone who will help you. Sign up for it right now. Sign up for a class, book a consultation, register for a program, do something right now. And I mean right now. Pause this video. I'll be here when you get back. Just go and do it. Don't let this momentum you've created go to waste. Do it now. Pause the video. Go. Now, let's talk about how you can keep this momentum going in the long term. You've already taken your first couple of steps. That's amazing. Let's just get rid of those barriers, those opposing forces that could slow you down or stop you. There are 3 things that really get in most people's way. One of the biggest barriers I see slowing people down and stopping them is fear. It's that weird, sweaty feeling that you get before you stand up in front of people to speak. It's the way that you get preoccupied afterwards and obsess over the mistakes that you made and what people might think. It's the self-consciousness about your skills, the worry that people will judge you for where you are in that process and for maybe thinking that you know more than you do. There's a lot of self-judgment that goes into creating this fear. Part of this process is just to grapple with that. When you start to understand, where is this coming from? What am I really afraid of? Then you can actually look at it in a more objective way. You can separate yourself from those feelings and look at them and see what happens in different situations. Oh, isn't that interesting? And you can use that knowledge so you control those feelings and they don't control you. The second big barrier is busyness. I'm too busy to do this. I don't have time. Because if you're working on your public speaking, you need to practice, you need to prepare. There is no substitute. But we're busy. We have work. We have family responsibilities. We have things that we do in our spare time to relax. And, it makes it hard to fit it into your schedule. And it's even harder to fit into your schedule if you don't want to do it. The thing is, if something is a priority for you, you will find time for it. If you love to do it, you will find time. If you think it's important enough, you will find time. If you don't like to do it, and you are afraid to do it, and you feel uncomfortable doing it, you will put it off. And you'll say, I don't have time. Right? So how do we make things a priority? So remember earlier I talked about accountability. And that's why I told you right away to go out and put this into the world. This is what I'm doing. We're all different in this sense. Some people are very, very intrinsically motivated. They don't need other people to put pressure on them to do things. But a lot of us do. It really helps to have other people saying, did you do that thing that you said you were going to do? I expect you to do that thing you said you were going to do. And to have that social pressure really helps keep us on track, make sure that we are doing the things and not procrastinating, not just giving up. So use that social pressure, use that accountability. And I also told you to find help, because that person who is helping you is also going to provide accountability. They're also going to take away those pain points that make you not want to do it. You want someone who's going to be able to motivate you and to make you feel good about what you're doing, someone you enjoy spending time with. And the final big barrier, and one that I think people often forget about, is boredom. If you are not prioritizing something, it's probably because you think it's boring. And this is why I don't join gyms anymore. I think gyms are boring. And so I do sports. I go outside to be active. I will not go to the gym. It's boring. Right? So when you're going about this process of, I'm going to improve my speaking skills, my communication skills, I want you to approach it in such a way that your enjoyment of the process or your passion for what you're doing outweigh your nerves and the time pressures that are on you. It should be fun. And some of you are going to go, okay, but public speaking sucks and it's not fun and there's no way to make it fun. There are. If a public speaking group is not your thing, if you're not motivated to show up every week, then try something else. Try theater, take a drama class or join a community theater production. Do singing lessons, join a choir, take on a leadership role somewhere, teach a class, volunteer somewhere, show up for community meetings, speak up about issues that affect your community. My big thing is improv. I will do improv 7 days a week if I could, because I just think it's fun, and you don't need to prepare for it. You don't need to memorize lines. You just show up and bring yourself and just play. So it's different for everyone, it's just what brings you joy and what is going to motivate you to keep showing up, not because you should, but because you want to. I want everyone in the world to let go of should. Let's take it out of our vocabularies, okay? Stop shoulding all over yourself. Stop worrying about willpower. Okay? Willpower is a fantasy. What's going to work for you is use science. Use your high school science, right? Use what you know about yourself and about your own motivations. Harness your joy. Harness your excitement. Harness the people around you. Use your own personal motivations to create the movement that you want. That will get you started. That will keep you going. So I know that when I said, pause this video, go sign up for something, you went and did it because you were super keen. If you didn't, no judgment, maybe a little judgment. I want to tell you about my Fearless Public Speaking course. So it is a small group program, 8 weeks. We take you through all of the steps of putting together a presentation and strengthening your own delivery. There are videos that you can watch on your schedule, and then 2 hours in person on your feet every week. There's that accountability piece. And I make sure within 20 minutes of getting in that room, you are laughing. You're going to have fun. You're going to get out of your own head. And you're going to really absorb these skills in a way that you can't from watching videos or reading a book or anything like that. So, link is in the video description. If you would like to join us, I would love to have you there, and we'll get you over this hump.